Welcome to another episode of the Homestretch with Adrian Durant. And today we have another special guest, Olympic U.S. Virgin Island hurdler, Eddie Lovett. Welcome, Eddie.
Virtual clap.
What's good? What's good, Adrian? What's good?
Nothing
Ashley,
much.
Kelly.
Yes, thanks for joining us again, Ashley. Welcome to the Homestretch, where we talk to you Olympic level athletes, amazing athletes, world-class athletes, and we hear about your stories and your journeys and obstacles that you've had to overcome. Eddie's from the U.S. Virgin Islands, like myself, so I know a little bit more about his story, and I'm looking forward to hearing you kind of go into it. Congratulations, you're going to be repping the VI at the 2020 or 2021. I don't know what they call it now, the Tokyo Games.
Right. 2020 something.
2020 something Olympic Games.
And this will be your second Olympic Games because you repped the VI in 2016.
Yes, sir.
Yep. A little bit about Eddie's resume. Eddie was a Pan Am Junior champion, SEC champion, and NCAA champion indoor and outdoor. Also broke the NCAA 60-meter hurdle record indoor. It ran the fourth fastest time in NCAA history. I don't know if that's changed in the past couple of years, but still one of the top times.
Yeah, as a person, I'm still like top 10, but the times Grant and they knocked them times out the water.
Yeah. And you're the U.S. national record holder in the 110 hurdles, a personal best of 13:43, and going to better that out there in Tokyo and repping the VI and see what you could do out there, making us proud. So Eddie, you've been running for a long time. How did you get started? Where did you come up?
Well, track and field as a whole, it was a sport for me to get better in my original sport. I've been an athlete my whole life. Started off playing baseball. My dad played baseball. He started playing in the Virgin Islands, and then he got into the minor leagues, played some minor league ball for the Savannah Cardinals, and so on to the majors. So I started off with baseball, but being that my mom's family is in the States, America, South Florida, football is a thing. So, track was originally something that I did to get better at football. My sister's dad, he actually graduated from the University of Florida. He was a part of the 96 national championship team. His name is Aubrey Hill, wide receiver. So he was a part of that team, and he's been a coach. He's coached all over. And I played wide receiver. I started off as a quarterback, clearly from my baseball background. I was easiest. But just as I got older and I developed, I just kind of realized I had a different skill set. And then again, I realized I had a different skill set by trying track. So it was just something that I did to better myself. I love pushing my limits. That's the only way I feel alive. I don't really like, some things is definitely good to have balance and some things, but in other areas, I like to push myself. So that's pretty much what it was. And it became something that I loved because of how it was set up, being that what I put in is what I get out. In football, I played quarterback, so it didn't matter if I got my 5-step drop and knew my reads if my receivers couldn't get to the ball, or vice versa. When I played receiver, it didn't matter if I did my route right. If the quarterback couldn't get the ball to me, it didn't mean much. So track and field was the first time that I ever experienced a sport to where whatever I put in, I see the results, whether it be immediate or down the road. And that was something that I enjoyed. Essentially, because I know that everyone doesn't have the same work ethic. I won't say mine is better or harder than anyone else's. I just know that everyone's isn't like mine. So track gave me that outlet to push my limits with no limit. Physical limits, yes, but as far as what, the work that I can put in, it's really just all based on me. It's on my pace, I can make the pace slow, I can make the pace faster. It's all on me. So it was just more satisfying than any other sport for me. And I just began to love it.
What age was that? What grade were you in when you started it as a second sport?
finishing up my 10th grade year. So 11th grade, my 10th grade year, I jumped in like two random meets. Yeah, I almost made it to states my first year. Yeah, I almost made it to states my first year. In 2 meets, I almost made it to states. And almost making it to states, that kind of bothered me, just because like it was so many things that I didn't know about hurdles, but I wanted to be there. So then I did summer track. I did summer track the whole year, and then went through my football season. I ended up breaking my arm my senior year, playing football. Again, the quarterback not being able to get the ball to me. But anyway, so I ended up breaking my arm. And then from there, I was just like, okay, you know what? I know I have a talent. I know it's talent that I have that I haven't discovered. So let me put my energy to something. So I just put all my energy to track, and things just kind of like happen. And so my first, but I broke my arm my senior year. So my junior year, I actually made it to state, and I ended up winning. I was the youngest guy there, and that was amazing too. Again, I was in a spot where I was forced to push myself, and I loved it, and things worked out. So going into my senior year, I just kind of put all my effort into it. According to Florida High School, the Athlete Association, you know, they have parameters as far as how many times you can practice. I broke all the rules. I literally practiced whenever I could. I mean, I had, it was my senior year. I only had 2 credits to finish. I could have graduated in July, but, you know, I decided I had some other things that I wanted to do back home still. And so I decided just to go through my whole senior year. And also I wanted to break the state record. So that was also a part of it too. So I just put all my effort into track and field. I had office aid in the mornings. I had a gym before lunch. I had a gym after lunch, and then after school. So pretty much I would practice about 3-4 times a day. I would obviously break it up, you know, but yeah, I would practice 3-4 times a day. And after that, I would just go home. And my only goal was to, you know, not necessarily get up out of Dodge, but, you know, I got to go get something for myself. And it just wasn't where I was at. So, you know, I knew I needed to get there, and that's what I did. I didn't have any offers early on. And then things started clicking. Within a matter of 3 weeks, I went from being number 100 and whatever to top 10 to number 1 in the state. I mean, not in the state. I'm sorry, number 1 in the nation. I ended up being number 1 in the nation. And so, and I also had a lot of guys, you know, with me in my event that also pushed me. You know, some guys that would yap a lot. So, you know, I kind of decided like, okay, when I meet you, we just gonna, you know, we gonna do what it do. And it's funny because the guy, his name is Pablo Alvarez. He ran that Miami Beline Jesuit, big, tall guy. He ran 13:63 at Florida State Relays. And so the state record was 59. I think it was 59. He ran 63 when they did. And so obviously, you know, everybody, amen. I'm like, all right, bet. First time we ever got on the track together, he disqualified himself. And so I decided, all right, well, guess what? You ain't want to smoke, so you're gonna just have to watch me do it. So I went out, I made the final, got close to actually the week before I ran 13:63 state. So that was regionals. No, was it 68? I think it was 68. 63. And then I ran 59. Was the record 56? However it was, I ended up smashing the state record. I ended up running 13:46. I believe the record was 59. And so, yeah, I just, you know, I was just pushing my limits. You know, I was stretching, doing my abs. I was ready to get things. I was ready to get things done. You know, even though I didn't have much technique, but I was fast and I was relentless. So, you know, hurdlers need that. So yeah, I just so happened to have the attributes needed, just off raw talent, and just over time, I just, you know, decided to dedicate myself to learning the technique. and things happened. I ended up, all of my offers came super late. Well, because I got running super late, you know. So I ended up getting offers from South Carolina, LSU, and Florida. The only coach that came to visit me was Mouse.
Really?
Yeah, the only coach that came to
What?
visit me. Yep. It was Mouse was the only coach to come visit me. And I spoke to one coach, the coach at Florida State, but it's a funny story because it's actually part of the reason why I don't like Florida State. So pretty much when I won state, the coach at Florida State told me that he'll keep an eye on me. I was the best guy in Florida, and like I said, you know, I was coming up. I ran 14:01. I think the guy that was best in the nation was there's a guy that ran in North Carolina. I forgot his name, but he used to do the 1, the 2, and the hurdles. Talented guy. Demetrius Lindo, is that his name?
I don't know.
I remember that. Yeah, I think that's the name. But you know, very talented. He could do any event, and yeah, I was like, all right. So I already knew where I needed to be, and you know, like I said, I just put in the work. Things kind of happened. Mouse talked to me based on, and this was before I broke the state record. This was actually 2 weeks before I broke it. He offered me a full ride when I ran like 68. And he was just like, yeah, you know, he came to my house and, you know, he was talking and everything. And I'm like, listen, like, what's the offer? Like, you know, all these papers look good, but like, you know, I'm here for the offer. That's, you know, I believe you're here for the offer. So, he said I had a full ride, and to me, that was just added motivation. So it was like, in my mind, I already knew I was a Gator. So even in that race, I'm like, hey, you know, even before the race, I did my Gator chomp. I did in the state meet. We actually finished second with 4 people. I ran the 110s. I did the 4x1. I did the 300s. I did 300 hurdles. I did triple jump and the 4x4.
Triple jump.
So, yeah, man. I jumped
a lot of
like
events, man.
Yeah, no phases, you know, just speed. You know how I do. just speed. It was pop, 46, like 5 or something like that. So yeah,
so
I was just
so you're coming up.
My limits.
So you're coming up in Florida. Florida's one of the top track states. You're getting better and better. You're dropping times in the hurdles, and now you're going to the University of Florida on a full scholarship.
Right.
So you didn't grow up in St. Thomas. You grew up in Florida. Where you're from?
St. Croix.
What's that? Oh, you're St. Croix.
Yeah,
You know what? It's Tabari that's St. Thomas.
It's
okay. Tabari Henry. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't have
my bad. I didn't mean to. You know. yeah. I wouldn't want to be called a St. Tomian either. So you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
It's all love, but I'm
these Crucians. Okay.
St. Croix.
Hey.
You already know.
All I'm saying, there's nothing wrong with them. You know, I'm just
you're
cruising. You know.
Yeah.
No. So you didn't come up on St. Croix. You grew up in Florida. In the area that you grew up in, was track really big, and was track like an opportunity sport there for you? Like, did you see it as like, you know, you were playing football, you broke your arm, you had other sports, but was there any other drive behind the sport thing, or was it just you were just good and just enjoyed pushing yourself? Like, was college always in the plans? Was it like going to college, running track at some point, or was just the natural progression of it?
Yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. As far as coming up, I wasn't really sure of my plan. You know, I knew I had talent. Most of my family members were athletes, always been athletes. But I never really had a plan. You know, grew up poverty, grew up single parent home, man of the house.
You had a couple siblings you grew up with too, right?
Yeah. And I'm the oldest son, so you know I took care of everything. You know, when my mom worked all the time. You know, how
many of you was it?
It's 5 of us. I have a sister that's older than me, but she ended up living with Aubrey, because he was a coach, and you know she traveled with him. But I had my little brother, and then I had 2 sisters. So you know, I took care of them. You know, I did the best to you know, fill that gap. And you know, that was for a long time. That was just you know what I did. Sports was really a outlet just for me in general. Just because I mean, like when you grow up, while I grew up, you know, I'm not saying there's not many options, but the knowledge isn't there. You kind of just see what's in front of you. And what was in front of me, you know, what wasn't the best, you know, just keeping it honest, you know.
Man, you downplaying it, but okay. You're downplaying it.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm just keeping it honest. I mean, I'm gonna just keep it real. I'm gonna give you.
Yo, say what it is. I mean, look, track.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
man.
have left St. Croix if it wasn't for track. Say what it is, man. You know.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Now, I was trying to get up out of Dodge. I mean, look, I grew up. You know, I know what a trap house is. I know what's inside it. I know all of that. You know, I seen duffel bags leave, come back full. Don't go in this room. Don't go in this bag. You know, at 8 years old, you know, people that I thought was family friends, like I done had a gun put on me at 8, staring down the barrel of a gun. So, you know, it a lot of experiences like changed me. And so in a lot of ways, I was angry. You know what I'm saying? Like I was angry, like, nah, this ain't, I don't really think this right, you know. And you know, just keeping in the buck, growing up where I grew up, you know, gang violence was definitely a thing. You know, I done been jumped by gang members. They ain't whoop me, but I ain't in no gang. So, you know,
You don't tell us that.
Yeah.
So what if you weren't good at sports? Because you know, you hear a lot of people talk. I grew up on St. Croix. You know how St. Croix is.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I always hear people talk like, oh, you know, a certain group of people need to make better decisions or whatnot. And I'm like, man, you know, sometimes when you come up in a place and you don't see a lot of options and you don't have a lot of alternatives, you can get stuck. So if you weren't an athlete, if you didn't have that set of skills, what would you have? What would your path have been in that situation?
To be honest, I never really thought of an alternate plan, just because all my effort was going into my talent. I knew it was a window of opportunity. I didn't know where it would lead. I'm going to be honest. I never planned on going to the Olympics. But the funny thing is, once I got on the track and the feeling that I would get from training, I said to myself that I'm going to be there. And I just did everything that I could to do that. And so to make that happen to a certain extent, funny story. So my 10th grade year is when I decided that I was going to be my 10th grade year, right? So I got into it with this like big, huge dude on some BS. You know, we playing around. But mind you, like, I went to high school in Palm Beach. I'm not from Palm Beach. So, you know, that was a little different. You know, I'm from Carol City. I'm from Miami Gardens. That's where my mom is from. That's why I grew up as a, you know, my younger years going into like late middle school and then transition to high school, Palm Beach. And so yeah, man, I never really thought of an alternate plan. In my mind, I just saw my talents as windows of opportunity. So where it led, I wasn't really sure. I was just trusting my talent. I knew that the talent could open the door. I knew that for a fact.
You sound like you were just all in though. That was the plan. There was no backup plan. It was like, look, this is it.
Right. And now, mind you, you know, it's funny because when you deal with athletes, especially athletes that are very talented, you know, people tend to think that we're not smart. Oh no, I'm very intelligent. You know, I'm very intelligent. If you want to talk about something, I guarantee you I can talk about it all day. And only because I did the research before we talked about it. So,
on this podcast, we don't you know, that propaganda. I coach at an Ivy League school, so people can say athletes aren't smart as much as they want. All I know
right.
All I know are athletes, and I know plenty of smart people.
Right. Yeah. And it's a stereotype. You know, intelligence is a subjective thing. You know, it depends on what you're talking about, how much you know about it. You can see it in different ways.
Don't
and
get me started, man.
Yeah. And me in particular, I believe that my athletic talent is a form of intelligence. But hey, it's my realm. I can't really bring people inside my brain to see it how I see it. But I definitely feel like as an athlete, it's a form of intelligence. Now I will say another thing that attracted me to track was just the history of track, how it ties into like the Greek world and ancient, like how they used to do like back in the day. I'm very into like mythology and characters and like what they mean, the stories. All of them have a story, and within their stories.
You a Game of Thrones fan?
I need to get into it. It's just too
long. Come on. You can't even say you're a fan of.
Don't do it to yourself. Just let it go.
It is. It's worth it. Just don't watch season 8. Everything up to season 8 is pretty good.
I heard it. So yeah, it was just something that I was just really into. Like one of my biggest things that I want to do. 2 things. I want to go to an old track, and I just want to sit there and I just want to meditate. I just like an ancient track, an old track. I just want to sit there and meditate. Another thing that I want to do is I want to go in the middle of the Colosseum in Rome and just sit there and just listen. Because I know a whole bunch happened there. A lot of carnage, a lot of action, a lot of people pushing past their limits. Some not making it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So just, man, one of my favorite movies is Gladiator, by the way. Russell Crowe.
So at least you've seen Gladiator. I'd be like,
yeah.
You know what I want to ask you about? Because you were at Florida, and being at Florida, you were SEC champion, national champion, so you were hot.
Right.
And they just passed a law. The NCAA just passed a rule where now athletes could start making some money. That would have been helpful when I was in school. It would have been helpful when you were in school, branding yourself and making money when you're on top.
Right.
We win SECs, and you have your own merchandise and all of that stuff, which and
right.
now how do you feel about? Do you think that's the way to go? How do you feel about that rule?
I think it's great. I'm all about progress. I understand that the opportunities I had, people had to do things for me to have those opportunities. So we can sit here and delegate all day, but I can't reverse time. I'm happy for them. I know it's going to help. I know where I come from. Look, man, it's been some of my best performances on the track. I look, it's it's really just hard to explain because, people look at the performances, but like I said, man, most of and it's something that I actually had to transition through. But yeah, most of what I did, I was angry. I was angry at my situation. I was angry at what was around me. I didn't understand why I had to be that way. I wouldn't say I'm a street dude, but like I just had to get through that. And it just wasn't me, that's for some people, but it just wasn't for me. And it wasn't, as I got older, my moral conviction made me separate from it more. But the reason why it wasn't for me is because I saw it firsthand, and I know that when I do something, I go full speed ahead. So for me, if I was gonna be a street dude, I probably wouldn't have been here. Keeping it real. Yeah. So, people could, you could,
but you said
just keeping it real.
You say you were angry, and sports was an outlet, and it is an outlet. It's a healthier outlet to release anger than releasing anger into the streets.
Right, for sure.
And even Aileen, we talked to Aileen Bailey. She had some trauma, and she was like, track was how she kind of got this stuff out, frustrations and all her feelings out. So
absolutely. For sure. And hurdles definitely help because I could knock them down.
Yeah, you can kick them and break them, and
I got a broken hurdle in here right now. At Florida, I broke a few. Break it with my lead leg, break it with my trail leg.
Yeah. So you're good with the athletes making some money. See, because here's the thing, right? If you're getting good in college and you learn how to brand yourself and make your money, you don't have to rely on some crazy contract. Like I'm not a fan of these shoe companies and their contracts because they don't
Yeah.
really help people out, man. They'll give you some money for like a year and get injured, they cut you. It's like you work to be the best of the best.
It's a game of chance. I know a lot of athletes. I know a few athletes that Olympic champions, world champions that that actually function with like a limited contract to where they only like just work with shoes and they
That's
just
crazy.
wear whatever they want to wear.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have to be like that. It shouldn't have to be, because no
No.
other sport is like that. Every other sport, you have more security. And I understand that track and field is a different setup. But like, to me with track and field, what bothers me with the contracts is there's no set parameter on what gets you a contract. When I was in college, everybody would say, oh, run 13.2, run 13.2. I ran 13.2 in college. It was wind dated, but I ran it, right? My PR was 13.39, so I'm right there. So in my eyes, I'm like, if you're telling me 13.2 is a contract, 13.39, I would think it would be somewhere in like a bonus conversation. Mind you, indoor I ran 750. Now, here's how track and field is BS, right? So indoor I ran 750, right? Now I had guys that were 7'7" low, 760 in college, right? So when I got out of college, I didn't have a contract, right? But the guys that I ran with the next year, they ran 750 and got a contract. So like, how didn't I get a contract? I ran 750 as a junior, and then I ran 50 again. I ran 54. So I've been to every national championship. I made it to worlds. I have a Pan Am junior title. I have the resume. I have the experience. So yeah, I don't the way they do contracts. I don't know. You could say it's favoritism. I know agents. Having the right agent, that matters too. But I don't think it should be like that. I think there should be a set parameter. I think there should be more ways to help athletes. It doesn't have to be a full contract. It should be more incentives to doing well, I think.
Well, I think they need to get out of the way. I think this rule allows you to start learning how to brand and market yourself as a college athlete and start making money as a college athlete, so that by the time you're a professional athlete, you don't need Nike. You've already been doing it for 3 years, and now you know how to make your own money.
Right. But see,
that's what the rappers did. Look what the newest rappers, they like, forget the record labels. I'm gonna go on Spotify. I'm gonna go on all these different platforms and make my own money. I think track athletes need to do the same thing.
And they even made a lot of rappers. They even made what do you call it? Like recording labels that were like where they would just work together.
They do their own thing. Yeah, they were like, why do we? Yeah. So in this day and age,
if you move towards, they had ownership in what they're doing, and if you have ownership in what you're doing and autonomy, then you're gonna push yourself a little bit more, because the better that you do, the more you're gonna have at the end of the day.
Right. So those companies. And track doesn't work like that. Exactly. It's not as straightforward as that.
I actually had a conversation about that, about people.
It can,
we're a business, we're a walking billboard. So even don't get so caught up in trying to be with a specific company when you can be multiple companies. And you can also structure it. I think you talked to Michael about this. You can structure it where you can do it by meets. There's ways to do it, but you have to know what you're doing.
Right. No, I agree. But see, that's the thing. I think it's wrong. Well, okay. I don't agree with the fact that you have to go through all that to get it done. I agree with everything that you're saying. I agree. Every single thing. But why isn't that already in place?
Because there's no incentive.
But if you put it in place, then there's going to be like one corporation or one body controlling.
And still in control. Yeah.
As opposed to having.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot of. It's definitely one sided. And like how like for example, I remember what one of my friends Tori, she was with the women's brand. I don't know the name of it. And so she ended up breaking the triple jump record for US. Then she got offered by Nike. And so like it was like a crossover, because Nike was kind of like, hey, you got to wear our stuff. But she still was doing work with, and so like situations like that, I agree. I don't understand that. Why can't I wear Fabletics clothes? Because Fabletics has a men line. Now, it's not mainstream and it's not necessarily in direct competition with Nike, but why isn't it possible for me to work with a company like Fabletics or Layer 8 is a company that I love a lot. I have a lot of the workout training gear. Why can't I wear Layer 8 and have like a Nike shoe? Like, why isn't that possible? Like, why?
Because they want to control you.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm not. Well, I'm when I say why is that?
No, you're asking
possible,
rhetorically. Yeah.
I'm saying, yeah, rhetorically, like, why are these companies so hell bent on having? They want to take up all the talent, but they don't want to take care of the talent. And then by the time they're done with the talent is either washed up or they just want to get out the sport. So
yeah, because they know that
I don't agree.
They know that every year there's going to be an NCAA champion.
Yeah.
You know, but that's why that's why the kids. That's why I like this rule change, because at the end of the day, if you just like you're a gamer, and we're going to go into you're a gamer, and just like you can monetize your streams as the #1 athlete from a country, as a champion. You can monetize yourself. And I think that's the direction. That's the way we need to go in the future, so that these companies don't have so much power. You see someone win something one year and they're on a contract, and the next year they get hurt and they're running unattached. And like, this is one of the best athletes on the planet, running unattached, working at Home Depot, struggling, when really they should be someone who has gotten to that level of excellence in anything should be celebrated, and they should be paid. They should be paid.
You're right. No, I agree. This new rule, like you said, I think it does help across the board. It does help. I mean, we already know the bigger sports, it will help because they already bring in certain money. But with track and field, I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that point, because we do have to put some pressure on companies to help them understand, like, hey, you can give us a contract, but understand we do have other options. But
you think Sha'Carri
don't have many options?
You think Sha'Carri need a Nike contract right now? She don't need a Nike contract.
Not now.
She don't need one. Not right now. If she monetizes
enough money.
See, it's the exposure. I have people in the street who don't even watch track, like, hey, what do you think about that young girl in the 100? I'm like, oh, forget the shoe companies. She needs to monetize. Like, start making some t-shirts or something. Like,
but see, and that's the thing, and and
under Nike though, because of how her contract is.
Right. And see, I don't like that. I don't like that. Like Marquise Dindy, right? He has his own like brand, Mad, right? And so like he has shirts and all that stuff like that. I have my own brand, Love to Leave. I have my logo. I have my setups of like what I want to do. And as things progress, I can keep developing that and bring it out. The gaming is the first phase of that. It's easier. I already do it every day, so that's easy. I can do that right here. So but I believe it, like what Ashley said, it gets in the way because she is a Nike athlete. So it's like, okay, I mean, even Grant is a Adidas athlete, right? But he has Rose Gang, right? And so it's like, okay, he wears Rose Gang, but like, okay, the Rose Gang shirt has to have 3 stripes on it. Come on, bro.
Man.
Come on, bro.
And I'm saying Grant he don't need Nike. He don't need Adidas. He can get Rolex. He could get like there are all these different people who you can get sponsorships
from. He can get anybody.
He can go. Rolex. What's that?
He can still get Rolex at this.
You see what I'm saying? But
that's not in direct competition. And some of the things that you guys are talking about, like you can put those things in your contract before, but you have to be knowledgeable about negotiating because you can't
that's another piece.
Table
but see, that's another
on the table.
I agree. But like Adrian said, that is another piece because the knowledge is not going to be out there. I'm gonna be honest with you. What I know about agents and sponsors and all that stuff now, I know it because I ask people. When I go to these meets, I talk to coaches. I ask people, and see, I know when you BSing me. So like I said, I ask people like, yo, let me know what's up. How does this go? How does this work? Obviously, I know some people BS, in track and field, sometimes we got a lot of people that, because of how it works, and you have that realm of people that pretend. They say, oh, I'm making this, and they got the look. You know what I'm saying? And they, and the setup is just so weird. I don't think it has to be like that. It should never be like that. That is straight BS. That is flawed. That's corny. Morally, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in having like Nike gear and then but if I have gear, I have gear. It really doesn't matter what gear I wear to me. I mean, if it fit right and I look fly in it, I'm cool. So that's out the window. So I don't really care. It could be Skechers. It could be JBL audio. I don't care. It don't matter to me because I'm there. And like how Miss Kelly said, I'm my own brand. And I have my own logo. I have my own, I have my own path. But like how you mentioned, because you have these companies, a lot of athletes, it's harder for them to branch out and make their own thing because they're so restricted. And they have to go through, they have to do backflips to make a living for themselves, to protect themselves. Mm-hmm. Why is it like that? Why is it like that? Part of it is because there are no other options. So I wholeheartedly agree. I see some people getting upset, but I think that's some hate.
No, I like it because the thing is now you could be a freshman learning how to brand yourself and market yourself and start your own company, which I see a lot of kids doing. And then as you're graduating, as you're a senior, it's not pressure to run a certain time to get a contract. Because as you know, Ashley too, everyone who's a senior at any of these schools who's running track, they trying to win NCs to get a contract. That's their goal, so that they can continue their Olympic pursuit. So it's like, okay, well, what if I could make 80, 90, 100 on my own? And I don't need to sign any dotted lines. And I can just run on my own terms. Like, that's just a better situation for I think, the younger kids coming out.
It is a better situation. And the main reason why it's a better situation is just look at how track and field works as a whole, right? How I just look at the history. This doesn't happen to everyone, but it happens to a lot of people. We can name off the top of our head major college athletes that got major contracts and just was hurt year after year after year. They got paid almost millions, $500,000, whatever, and they was hurt. Now, when you're pushing your limits, you're going to risk injury.
Absolutely.
You cannot avoid that. Minor, major, however, you cannot avoid that. You're human. You're learning your body. Whether you might stay with the same coach, you might go to a different coach. You're learning a new program. Your body, you're in a different transition. Like for me, when I was younger, I would do more like sprint stuff. But I am fast now, and not saying that I have to not sprint now, but because my speed is reaching the limit, I'm gonna run 9.8. Come on. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to run 9.8 to be a world-class hurdler, but I need to be at least 10.5 or better.
10.5, yeah.
Right. So, so that in itself. So it's like, okay, if I can get, I get my speed, let's say I get my speed, I get an official 10.1. All right, that puts me in a better position. But yeah, the setup is garbage. The setup is garbage.
It is.
I don't like the setup. I don't like the setup because it really shouldn't be like that. But you see so many athletes and they do have the pressure. And that's why you see a lot of people hurt because of the pressure, because they know.
Yeah, you're running for money. You're running for your life. Yeah, like, if you use track to get to college and then after college, you're trying to use track to pay your bills. You're trying this is your career. Tough. This is what you do.
It's tough. Even if you're good, it's still tough.
Yeah, like some people in a blessed position where they get a good contract, good agent, good representation, and they run well enough, consistently enough to make enough money to do well. But hopefully this is a shift to the power being more so in the hands of the athlete.
Right, and it should be, because me personally, I mean, I went to school with a lot of guys that just had to stop track, and it wasn't because they were,
and they're talented.
Right. It wasn't because they weren't good enough. I was actually talking to my boy the other day. I was like, bro, I was talking to him. I'm like, do you realize if like people really had the support? Like they talking about all these world records and all that.
They'd be gone.
Some dunks would be out the water if some of these people were able to have the resources to sustain. And, and just speaking on myself, I'm gonna just keep it real. You see a lot of guys, in my event that's world champions and world finalists. They're not more talented than me. Mm-hmm. But their situation was a little different. They had the resources to be able to sustain. My biggest issue, and part of it is training philosophy. I need to learn when to, but as I learn my body, again, I'm still learning hurdles. So I'm still learning my body. I'm still learning how to hurdle, but there's a lot of guys, Omar, Devin, they're not better than me, but I haven't been able to put it together. That's the difference because of situations with my body and things like that. You got your internal organs moving out of place. Can't really run fast. So, track and field push your body through so much. It push your body through so much, whether mentally, physically, physical, mental stress turns into physical stress. Then you have your and track and field is painful, man. You go out there, look, before practice, I'll be scared. I'll be like, man, what this man about to, and it's so funny. Look, it's
Imagine if you have to train for the 400 meters. You're talking about it's painful.
But see, 400 meters ain't that painful for me. Hurdles, my groin be feeling like it's about to fall out. It's a different type of pain.
I'm gonna jump in because you say something, mental stress, physical stress, and I know folks hear you talking, but folks who haven't been in it really don't understand. As a track athlete at the high level, the things that you have to overcome. And, I was at a track meet, and I don't want to put your business out there, but to me, this was, you were at a track meet and we were at the Pan Am Games together. And
I remember. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you lost somebody close to you, man, the morning of your race.
Right. My sister. Yeah. 2 a.m.
And you found out that your sister was killed. And you went out there and you competed.
Yep. Ran 13.6.
Yeah, you ran.
13.6. But guess what? I ran 13.6. But the week leading up to that, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to get at least first and second. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't
but to even go out there and race, that shows to me, like people talk about, they don't understand. You found out someone and you went out there and lined up and
I stayed up the
raced.
I cried. I cried from 2 a.m. all the way to the start of the race.
Yeah, and I remember.
And I got to the race, and I got in the race. And to be honest with you, I don't remember the race. My body was in a different place. My mind was in a different place. My mind was back home. Even afterwards, everybody was talking to me, and I heard everybody. I appreciated all the love, but like my mind was, I need to get back home. I need to, and I'm saying just in general, everybody's family situation is different. Like my family as a whole, I have my younger siblings, they have a college education and they're doing it now, but like growing up, we were poor. So when I was at Florida, I was sending money back home for bills.
Yeah.
Every and so it's like,
and this is what you're competing with. This is what you're competing with. You're competing with this burden all the time.
Like I'm going to practice and it's like, hey, like the lights just went out. But I'm broke. The money I'm sending is money I'm getting from
meal money, per diem Pell Grant,
Yeah, and people don't understand that. Hey, and these companies don't understand that. Clearly.
They don't care. Yeah.
They don't care. Yeah.
That's an example of mental fortitude, man. Not a lot of people would have been able to get up there and compete and even halfway put together a race. And when you went out there, I was like, man, that's impressive, man, because that takes some real mental toughness to get out there and still. And you wanted to race for her, you didn't want to not race, and it was,
right. Yeah, and I battled with that too, because even the whole time, because my body was like, don't race.
Yeah, I bet.
My body was like, don't race. Literally. Like my body was just like, don't race. I couldn't feel my muscles. Like I didn't know how I felt. I couldn't tell if my hips was ready. Couldn't tell if my glutes was firing. I could not feel my body. My mind was in another spot and my body was in auto control. But in my mind, I knew, I'm like, all right, at the end of the day, me and my sister is really close. We're both June Cancer babies. Her birthday is in July, and my birthday actually just passed. Appreciate it. It just passed last Friday. And so appreciate it. And so, you know, like growing up, I actually was a foster child. I lost my whole childhood in foster care. You know, my mom being a single parent, you know, she wasn't able to balance having to work all the time, and you know, she couldn't afford really to have people to watch us, and she was young, so you know, like she was young, she made her mistakes and things happen. My mom lost custody, so yeah, my mom lost custody when I was about 4, and my mom didn't get custody of me until I was turning 10. So I lost my entire childhood. Yeah. So yeah, like I can't even remember a childhood. I don't have a childhood friend. My childhood friends are my siblings, my cousins. I don't, you know, most of my childhood, I was not necessarily working, but I was, you know, this was a basic day. Middle school, me in 6th grade, right? So my middle school was down the street. It was closer to my younger brother and sister. My baby sister was in pre-K. So like my mom would go to work. Sometimes we would split up. So my mom would take my younger siblings, my 2 younger sisters, and I would ride my baby sister on the handlebars, like 2 miles down the road to the daycare. And, you know, and some days I would have to make both trips myself, you know, and then when she came from work, I had to go get my sister, make sure she was back home. And I had to go get my younger brother and my younger sister back home. So, you know, I'm a black kid in a hood neighborhood walking with little kids by myself. Hey, I had to scuffle to make sure my sisters and brothers got home sometime. I had to take a few punches from a few people just to make sure they were safe. You know, I had to say, hey, Brian, I'll be home.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. You
no
know?
way.
And so like when I come, you know, I don't really, people see what they want to see. But for me, like when I attack certain stuff and they see my, you know, oh, you're emotional now, I'm passionate. There's a difference. People don't understand that difference, but it's okay. You know, if you do a little research, if you ask questions, then you will know. But most people don't ask questions; they just kind of assume. So, you know, that's that. But yeah, man, I've been through a lot, and so like how I said when I was younger, like a lot of things that I did, the catalyst was anger. It was disappointment. You know, it was yeah, I was angry. I'm gonna just be real with you. And sometimes it would, you know, sometimes it would come out. Sometimes it would come out. It would come out in the wrong setting. But it was only because I was just so used to fighting. Like I grew up fighting, literally fighting. And like now I'm older and I'm in a different spot. And so like the fighting, it's still a fight, but in a different way, you know. And so like I'm learning that, and you know that comes with the mental maturity. You know, I'm learning. I had the base setup of the man I wanted to be, but you know, the wisdom wasn't there. I had knowledge, but putting it in play is such a different thing, and it takes a long while to do that. But yeah, man, I was angry. I was angry at everything. I'm like, look, man, I'm walking 4-5 miles to the bus stop. You know, I'm going to school, going to practice. I had a job all through high school. All my track gear I paid for myself. All my football stuff I paid for myself. All my school clothes I paid for myself. And guess what? When I was 14, I was the biggest one in the house and I was eating up all the food. Guess what? I had to move out because my mama couldn't afford me being there.
Jeez.
I had to go out, and I had my grandmother, but like, you know, that was hard. That caused other issues with my family, with my siblings, with myself. You know, a lot of different things things that take a while to sit down and explain, but those, you know, a lot of those things were the driving factor. I was definitely angry. I was definitely pissed. And to a certain extent, I felt like I had something to prove. I actually made a post on Instagram today, you know, and that was just something that it took me so long to get over, and it wasn't something that I would be able to pinpoint, you know, off the top. It took me a while to kind of like get through, like, you know, to really like get through the rubbish. And like now I'm you know, I'm a man. I am a man of my own. I am older. I've had experience. I've matured in ways. I've learned that my passion is okay, but there is a way to use that passion in the right way. You know, there is a way to use it to be productive, not counterproductive. And that's just something that I just had to learn. But like I said, for me, you know, hey man, look.
Well, how do you feel now going into your second Olympic Games, representing the Virgin Islands?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you worked hard to get here. You dealt with a lot of injuries and whatnot.
Right.
So how do you feel now? It's 2021 heading to the Olympics.
Yeah, I'm grateful. Overall, I'm grateful. I'm happy. You know, it's an opportunity. You know, it's an opportunity that, you know, in part I believe I worked for. You know, and part of it, you know, I believe was the grace of God. It's a lot of moving factors, a lot of pieces. You know, there's a lot of moving pieces. You, Keith, Wallace, you know, Miss Berry, Brigitte. It's so many people. I could keep going down the list. You know, over the years, I've gained knowledge and gained wisdom to figure out, like, you know, how to like maneuver through all of this. But right now, like I'm happy. These past years, especially since moving back down here, training with Grant and training with Mouse, in my normal life, so many things have changed, and now I'm realizing in my training, I don't have to go into training angry. I can still bring that same energy, but it's not anger. Now it's more like it's joy. It should be joy. I'm moving in my talent. I'm being a vessel, you know. And that was things that I couldn't really identify, because for me, it was just like, nah, I gotta knock these boys over the head. I don't care, you know. And it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to
sound like a breakthrough to me, man.
Boy, I'm telling you, you ain't never lied. Yeah. So now, you know, now I'm grateful. Because I don't have that pressure. But coming out of college, oh yeah, that it drove me in the ground. It drove me in the ground. I would never even. I can go out. I mean, you look at posts posts I have. I will go out, do a rep. I'm right behind a 1280 guy, and I'm thinking that ain't good enough. Come on, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, yeah, I want to push my limits, but the mental, like the mental focus and like how I'm doing it right now is more about me just having fun with it. It's definitely tough. It's definitely hard. You know, I come home, I meditate, I talk to my lady, I talk to my mom, I talk to my grandma, I figure out how to, you know, all of that. But now it's more about joy, you know. At this point, I am a champion. I've won championships. I've done things that other people can't. Exactly. So, you know, now I'm realizing.
Yeah, I ran in the SEC. I ain't win no open race in the SEC. That's, you know, NCAA champion. That's not.
And look, as far as that indoor jump, I'm the only one to do it 4 times, and the guy who did it 3 times was Terrence Trammell. And you know, and those things that means something, you know, that means something, you know, that means something. Even through my college career, you know, I was able to meet guys, David Oliver. I'm able to speak to him. I'm able to ask him about, you know, hurdle training, you know, hurdle philosophy, just training philosophy, or just anything, you know. David Payne, I'm able to reach out to those guys and just gain knowledge, you know, gain wisdom, however, whatever. And it's all these things are catalysts towards the goal. And like I said, overall, I'm just grateful. I'm happy. I'm joyful. You know, I ain't gonna sit here and act like, look, every day the devil be trying to get me to, you know, you know. But hey,
I haven't seen you snapping on anyone on Facebook, so I'm like, all right, you know,
right. Hey, I'm working on it. Hey, I definitely now, but see, and
I see you being an activist, but that's cool.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh no, we gonna activist this thing till the wheels fall off. We ain't about to be out here faking it for sure. But yeah, even that, being able to express how I feel about certain things without, you know, going that far. Every now and then I feel like I need to come on now, but you know, it's a way to do it, and I'm learning that, and I'm learning not to take, you know, certain things as personal, especially when it comes to this track and field world, because man, this junk can make you hate, boy, because it's so many things that just doesn't make sense. And like I said, not just for me, but for other people. Like I said, I know a lot of athletes that just, you know, their career has been just so much, but they have the talent. They have the talent, and if they were able to put it together, you know, it would have been something amazing. And there's a lot of people that haven't been able to see that through. So yeah, man. But yeah, right now I'm just grateful. God is good. I'm grateful. You know, I'm moving in my element. I'm moving in my realm. I'm a champion. Competing with champions. That's what the Olympics are. Champion competing with champions. And another thing that I had to overcome was just understanding that my path ain't got to be like everybody else. And you see people say that, and it's a lot easier said than done. Because when you comparison is going to happen, even if you don't want it to happen, regardless. It's a competitive sport. It's a competitive life. It's a competitive world. So to not compare, it's not going to happen now. But there's a way. To me, I believe there's a way to compare. But what are you comparing it to? You know, what are you comparing it to? Are you comparing it to a certain standard, or are you comparing it to others? It's a difference. So, you know, I believe that affects track athletes too.
When you gonna make your YouTube channel, man? You over here spitting gems, and you know, you need to be. You seem pretty comfortable with it.
I've been thinking about doing like the podcast thing. I'm still. I'm trying to figure it out.
You're a gamer too. We want to talk about your hobby, man, because I always see you streaming. I see you streaming on Twitch. I see you on YouTube. Yeah, I see you on Instagram.
It's crazy.
I was going to get on Twitch with Warcraft, but I it was too time consuming, so I had to stop.
Yeah, it take a lot of time.
Yeah, Warcraft. I was like, man, I'm trying to do this podcast. I do coach an entire team, and then I was like, man, but you're on Call of Duty. I mean, you're pretty decent. You're pretty. I see you. I'm like, okay, you know. I'm like, I don't know. I might be able to. I was like, can I get on there and scrap a little bit? I don't know, but I see you.
Hey. Yeah. Hey, but even that, it's funny because I've been a gamer my whole life, but I never really chose to game competitively. I would just have fun. You know, back then I used to play like I have all type of games, RPG, open world. You know, I play Assassin's Creed, God of War. You know, all that stuff like that. But the FPS shooters very competitive, and it's just look, it's where I thrive. But even with that, you know, when I first started, I wasn't really that good. You know, I just good enough to just like play casually. But again, pushing my limits. You know, two things that I did to just get myself better. So I saw this trick that this very good player actually is a YouTuber. I forgot his name, but it was a long time ago. He showed me something, and it was something to help to center my visual. So what I did was for on the game, I zoomed in and I took a marker and I put like a faint red dot in the middle of the screen, and the whole time I would just stare at the dot, and then I would play. No. I would box. Hold on. Let me finish. So what I would do is I would set up bots, right? And I would set up bots, mix or just put them all at the hardest, and I would bot like 600 kills.
Yeah, you're practicing. Look at you training. That's what you're doing. You're training.
Right. So I would bot like 600 kills. First I started easy, but then I was like, okay. Then I was getting the movement and things like that. And then I have other friends that are good too. But yeah, I work on my dexterity. I work on, you know, hand-eye coordination, all that. So yeah. Hey, I'm pushing my limits. So
hey, I'm a gamer too, man. So I'm with you. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not a gamer. Don't mean I don't understand the, you know, what goes into.
Yeah. No. Because I mean, it's the same energy, just kind of like filtered different.
Yeah.
It's the same. It
feels the same. It feels like you're lining up sometimes.
Oh yeah, what? Look, man, I be going on kill streaks.
Yeah.
Hey, nah, I'm gonna be real with you. When I'm zoning in Call of Duty, that jump, it feels like so. Like we do workouts where like the hurdles is spaced like really close, and so you feel how you would feel. Man, look, I be in the chair like I'm the game. I ain't playing the game like I'm the game. So yeah, no, I love that. It does give me the same feeling, especially when I clutch. Oh man.
Oh my God.
Man, when I clutch it, I'll be like,
what clutch is.
It's just, you know, it's like, let's say the other team is winning by like 5 wins. And and clutch would be like if Eddie just go on a 6-kill streak and just end the game
and just
take over the game, and like he's like LeBron. Clutch is like LeBron in the last quarter, you know, like supposed to be.
Yeah, like it's me.
LeBron at his best.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Let's clarify.
Clutch is like Jordan in the finals. Like hit the ball to him, it's a wrap.
Look, it's exhilarating, man. It's exhilarating. And it's not even, I love it. I love it.
So what tips do you have? What feedback or comment advice? Because your story, I mean, from what you came from to what you have to overcome to now being a 2-time Olympian, you know, what advice do you have for folks who are facing their own journey, trying to accomplish something, and they're running into barriers, you know, they want to overcome? What advice do you have for them?
Well, I mean, this is cliche. Everybody says this. You got to believe in yourself. Now, to me, and this is just my method. I don't know about everyone's method. To me, believing in yourself takes a bit of vision and arrogance. It takes a bit of arrogance because, and this, well, my grandma, she always used to say this to me. It's really a quote, not a quote, but something she would say about like purpose. And you know, you either find your purpose or this world is going to give you one. So on one end, you have a passive transition through life where you just go wherever you fit in, and then on the other end, you have an active transition in life where, regardless of the ups and downs, you are actively involved. And you know, I believe that takes a lot of time to yourself, takes a lot of, I wouldn't say meditation, but time to yourself. You really have to lock in. You really have to believe in self. And the biggest thing that I did, and for whatever reason, now at 30, I'm able to put it in words, but in my mind, I had it for the longest. If you judge yourself by everyone else's scale, you will never succeed, period. It doesn't matter. And now, like I said before, to meet a standard is much different than chasing a standard or certain realm or phase is much different than chasing people. It's much different. But in this competitive, you know, in this competitive arena, sometimes you can kind of get caught up thinking you're competing against people. You're not. I'm competing against the clock. When I'm running hurdles, I'm trying to overcome the hurdles. You know, I don't care about the guy next to me, but in the race, guess what? You hit them steps. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. The fact that you can hear the hurdles, you're not locked in. You're not locked in. Because when you're locked in, like my 750 race, ask me how the race felt. I don't know. I can't tell you. I know how I felt when I crossed the line. But as far as the race, as far as me being in it, I was locked in. And I think it takes that regardless of anything that you do. You got to make your own scale, and you got to stick to it. You know, and I'm not saying that your scale can't change, because as you get knowledge, you can definitely add levels to that. You can definitely add, you add some accessories to that scale, but it's your scale. And, you know, if it's your scale, I think that matters more than anything. And even with that, you know, when it's your scale, the things you accomplish, I think it means a little bit more. If you're, and that was my grandma has been very pivotal in my life and in my career. You know, Christian woman, she been locked in with God since day one. And even her upbringing was tough too. Shoot, you know the Rolex, bro. the Rolex, my grandma used to date the dude, a drug dealer who owned that junk. She tells me stories about that all the time. His name was Quartz. But yeah, it wasn't called a Rolex when he owned it. Well, when he was like management, whatever there. But yeah, so I gained a lot of knowledge from her. But the biggest thing is, and it's going to take a lot of you having to shut down the thoughts and ideas of others, and you have to filter through it, and it's hard, and it is hard. It is hard because to be able to filter, you need a certain amount of wisdom, and you need knowledge, and you need wisdom to do that. So it's definitely going to take time, but at the end of the day, believe in yourself, and even before that, before you believe in yourself, you got to figure out who you are, even if it's just a little bit. Got to figure out who you are, even if it's just a little bit. Even if it's and for me, man, that it was a lot, because why I'm cruising, like, and I've been put in so many different situations where it was just different, and I had to adapt. Like, even like my speech, how I talk, I didn't talk like this when I was young. I had an accent when I was young, but I'm in Miami. I'm in South Florida, so that accent went away, and then it's things with that. I come back to St. Croix. What are you talking like that? I've been living in Miami for forever, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know how that is.
so
I like it to believe in yourself and figure out who you are.
Yeah, figure out who you are. Figure out who you are. It's gonna take some time for sure. But always have that in mind, regardless of what you're doing. When you have an idea of self, when you have a solid idea of self, regardless of what you're going through, you go through it with purpose. You go through it with purpose. If you don't know who you are, then what you doing? You're just there. You're just there. You're like water. Yeah,
that's a good point.
You're just water. I ain't water. I'm a boulder. I'm a rock. I'm solid matter. So you got to figure out who you are, and is definitely something that takes time. And even one thing for me, I don't necessarily believe in idols. I see people as examples. To me, when I have an idol, means I'm following everything that they're. For me, an idol, it means that I'm following everything that they're doing. An example means that I see things that you do that I see are, whether it's I see that is progressive or works or however, and I take what I feel like would fit for me, whether it's, you got some, I'm a black man, you got some people who they love Marcus Garvey, but see, I don't agree with everything Marcus Garvey say, but he done said some stuff that hey, he done said some stuff. So it's like, okay, how do I fit this? How do I take this knowledge and how do I transform it to be a catalyst for me, And so, and that's something that I've always done. That's something that I've always done. And because I had a sense of self, sometimes that would get in the way with, certain just, I guess, like encounters, because it would be like, oh, who do you think he is? Myself.
Yeah.
Myself. Oh, what is that? Yeah. I don't got to explain it to you, just me. Hey, well,
yourself is a two-time Olympian and SEC and NCAA champion, so it works out.
Right. And much more. But that's something that I built myself. I built it myself. It's like my house. I built it myself. I built it with my bare hands, with my mental and my bare hands. So it's something that I find high value in, and it's not compared to anybody else. It's just valuable to me, and that's all it has to be valuable to. So and part of my upbringing is what forced me to do that, because like I said, growing up, blood, Crip, GD, I don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of that. That's not my realm. For some people, that might be their realm, but that's not my realm. That's not a realm that I ever wanted to be a part of. But I do understand how that can become someone's realm, because it's not all by choice. Most time you're forced into it. Or you grow up in an environment where you think that's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't know any better.
Because growing up, sometimes you don't know no better. Growing up, man, you see guns, bullets, and all. This normal?
Exactly.
This normal?
Exactly. It becomes your norm. Yeah.
That's normal? Nah, that's not normal. That's not normal. And even that, like track and field was such an eye opener for me. I traveled with football, but you can go up the street. This is a football school everywhere in Miami, all in South Florida. But like track and field, once I did summer track, I was able to like travel and like see people and like see how other people lived. And like my first like international trip, like when I went to Russia, oh man, I was gonna win. I decided I was gonna win that race. I didn't care. And it's funny because Sergey had ran 13:10, and I'm like, I guess I'm gonna run 13:10. I ain't run 13:10, but I beat him. I got out. He was a 7-stepper. I pushed him to 6. He messed up his spacing, and he had to fight.
Oh, he went 6?
No. No.
I thought you threw his race completely off. I was like,
he was in 6.
Okay, you pushed him to the 6 hurdle.
Yeah. My fault. Not he was in 6. I pushed him to the 6 hurdle, but with a 7-stepper, you got to be a bit more patient. You can't just rush it. 8. As soon as I get out, that's my speed, and I just carry it. There's no like build. Once I start, that's pretty much it. And then I just work on keeping that momentum. 7 with less step is more of it's kind of like a slingshot, but the approach is much more patient. And so he was a 7-stepper. But I knew with 8, if I was able to push him and mess up his spacing, then I would have a better chance. And that's exactly what I did. And I ended up beating him. I ended up beating both the Russian guys. So, Sergey is a 12-9 guy, but I beat him that day.
That's right.
But that in itself shows you, like, look, when you lock down, when you focus, hey man, the limits are
limitless.
Yeah, you can't imagine it. Yeah, you can't imagine it. When you're locked in, you can't imagine it. I promise you. Whether it's gaming, whatever it is, when you're locked in, the knowledge that you get when you're focused and you're not paying attention to everything else, it's different. It's different on all levels. It don't matter what. You could be reading a book. You got music playing. You ain't focused on that book. You know what I'm saying? Look, when you're locked in and you focus, the places you can go, just being like in that realm, it's amazing. So, yeah. The focus is everything. But the biggest thing, and one thing I did do growing up, I did do a good job of reaching out to people that I felt like were positive people. I did do that because a lot of people would approach me, hey man, I knew they saw I had talent. I know they want to be cool with me and all that stuff like that. But look, everybody can't be my friend. So, and that's okay. I did a that's something that like my 10th grade year, I just decided like, look, this is the man that I want to be. These are my convictions. These are my morals, and I'm gonna stand by it. So,
that's right.
And I've done that. I've built upon it. I'm happy with who I am. Because I took the time to actively build who I was versus just doing what everybody else said I should do. So, but that's my process,
Really, really put in the work to evolve as a person. And everything that you've been through is admirable that you have come this far, you made the choice that you went, that you took. And, you're reaping the benefits right now. So that's really good. I'm glad that you worked on your mental health and you figured out exactly what it took, what you needed to do to make sure that you were joyful, that you were happy, and that you were successful.
Right.
So that's a great.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and a lot of people will learn something from this. So I'm glad that you were able to share your story today for sure.
Oh, absolutely. We definitely appreciate it. That's a lot. I appreciate you sharing all of that. How can we find you? Where can we find you online? I know you're everywhere. Where can our listeners find you?
All right. So my IG and Twitter is Love It or Leave 4. So my last name, the word or, leave, the number 4. So Love It or Leave 4 is my IG and Twitter. My Facebook is EJ Lovett, and my gaming page is Love It or Leave 4 Gaming. I mean, if you go to my, if you're able to find my IG page, you'll be able to transition to my. Oh, and also I have something that I actually just started doing. I just got in contact with it. It actually goes into the conversation that we talked about the athletes. There's an app called YOKE where you can go live and you can like people can, like it's like little you can game with athletes. And it's something that I just got into, because I'm gaming a lot. And like sometimes, whether it's IG or kids messaging me, like they would see my clips and say, hey, or even on the game, like, hey, I want to play with y'all, play. But, and it's cool. But look, my time is kind of valuable. So to a certain extent, I think I could take some of that time and make a little money. So like, it's cool. It's how it's set up. You pretty much, it's just a regular account, and you do like how we're doing now. You do a FaceTime, you have a one-on-one conversation while you're gaming with whoever. So I'm pretty sure I talked to the founder the other day, and I saw some tweets and stuff, but I'm pretty sure they got about like 4,000 to 5,000 student athletes already signed up since the law passing. So that's amazing too. And it's pretty lucrative if you're going to be gaming a lot. Every session that you play with someone is $10, which is great. The more followers you have, the more money you can make per game.
That's pretty good.
People can tip you. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's called YOKE, YOKE. It's an app. You can do it off your phone, do it off your mobile device, but it's great. And that's another thing that's available to help athletes be able to monetize their likeness. And for me, I think one of the biggest disconnects is the disconnect between like I have a lot of people that aren't athletes that a lot of times they put athletes in this realm of not necessarily not being human, but like they forget that we're human. They see what we're doing, and they see they see the stuff that we do, and then it's like if we go through something, oh, you should be great for you, bruh.
When they can't even wake up and run a hill, so yeah, you can't worry about that.
Yeah, like it's just different, But even now, I think that's a way for it to kind of close that gap, help people understand that athletes are more relatable. I can't tell you how many conversations that I don't have. And people, you're so down to earth. Yeah, I'm human. I
think you are. Yeah, you're just a hurdle machine.
Yeah. I don't know that. Maybe these dreads be messing up. I gotta get a touchdown. Man. I don't know.
Love it Elite 4. Love it Elite 4 on IG. Okay.
Yeah, Love it Elite 4, Twitter or IG. And on my gaming page, like I post clips. On YOKE, my username is EJ Lovett. So if you want to go on YOKE, you want to, shoot me some coins. If you want to 1v1, I'm going to give you that work. I'm going to just let you know.
Man, don't lose your money playing Eddie and Call of Duty, man. I don't know.
Yeah, you
lose some money.
You're going to lose it. You're going to lose it. Hey, and guess what? If you beat me, we're going to just double or nothing, because I'm going to get my boy CJ. I'm going to call Grant. We going to get that money. So, yeah, man. It's
like a promotion from Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
That's a free price now. I mean, I'm gonna wear my gems for free.
Mm-hmm.
A business consultation. That'll make some money.
He put some thoughts into his head. He like, I ain't think about that one.
Right.
For sure. So really take advantage of the opportunity that you're in, and good luck in Tokyo. It's gonna be different.
Yes, it's gonna be much different.
Especially going from Brazil to Tokyo, and even if you were in London, it's definitely a different experience. But good luck in Tokyo; it'll be amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out there and give it my best. For sure.
Yeah, do your thing, brother. Appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, man. Tell us your story.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be following as you're in Tokyo, repping the VI for sure.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to have me on here. I hope, through these talks in this conversation, people were able to get gems and, figure out, something to, some accessories on that scale.
Absolutely.
Put your name on it first, though. Put your name on it first.
Your own mic, though. I think you need it. You definitely
Yeah. You need to start your own podcast or something, brother.
Yeah, no, I mean, so honestly, this pandemic totally threw off my hustle. But when the pandemic started, I actually started like training people on the side, like weightlifting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I started like training people, and I had like a good like 4 or 5 people, and COVID hit, and that was out the door. Some people, obviously, the gyms closed. People didn't want to be around each other.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of different things. But now I'm learning. I'm trying to balance this kind of like time with my recovery. I've added so many different things to my recovery now, especially like now that I'm figuring out my body and really figuring out like how my body moves. For a long time, I had a lot of like internal like lower back, psoas, deep core issues. You know, that led to like a lot of injuries, but I'm strong, and I've always been strong. So, you know, and I'm used to fighting through pain in a sense, which can be good and bad. But you know, I'm learning my body, and so I'm learning my body. But that's something that I've always been interested in. You know, that what's another thing? Trying to figure out what else I was coaching. I was thinking about that, but like I said, I'm because I'm enhancing my training regimen, especially my recovery. Like when I get home, you know, like I literally get home and it's like for an hour straight. It's just straight recovery. I put on my little, I got this little, what is it? Like this Luffy chill beats, whatever like that. I put on my Luffy chill beats, or sometimes, you know, I throw on my Migos, you know, hype music, or sometimes I'll throw on my, you know, Amari or whatever, you know, I'll throw on my little chill music, you know, some what's old girl, Summer Walker, all that, you know, but I come in here and I put my little mat down. It's like the size of a carpet, and hey, I get out my kettle, I get out my what it says, my kettlebell, I don't know what it says. It's a weight. I get out my psoas tool. I get out my everything, my compacts. I do all that. I got boots. I mean, I got a gym. I got a little mini psoas machine. Not psoas machine. I'm tripping. What's this thing called? I can't think of it. Reformer. Is it reformer? My fault. Is a reformer. So yeah, I definitely got like a little gym in here. So I'm definitely invested into it. And that's another thing too. Look, young athletes, do not let these listen. You need to be a student of the sport and of your body. These trainers, they know what they're doing, but you also need to have a base level to understand what they're talking about too. That helps. That was something that happened to me at Florida the whole time, because I didn't know what was going on. Trying to explain what was going on was so hard. Like, what? Oh, my leg. Oh, up in here. What? You know, but now that I'm older, you know, when I'm going to get these treatments and I'm going to these people with this acupuncture, you know, or a chiropractor, things like that, because I have a certain knowledge or some type of base, I actually know what's going on, and that helps me to be able to you know, push my limits. It's on the recovery side, because you can put your body through a lot, but the recovery matters more than anything. It matters a lot. You could train, but if you're not recovered, it's gonna show, and it might not be what you want. So figure out your body. I'm not saying that you're smarter than the trainers, but you but you should have it. You should have an idea. Because when you have an idea, if you think about it, 2 heads is better than one. The trainer might have an idea, and you can be like, hey, like, you know, but when you have an idea of what's going on, you have a base level idea of what you're doing, you know, however, any amount of knowledge, or, you know, of knowing your body or mechanics or whatever, coaching philosophy, those things, you have to be a student of the sport. It helps enhance you as an athlete. It helps enhance your coach as an athlete. I mean, as a coach, some coaches is athletes too. So I mean, it's just it makes it so much better. And that's also another thing. Like, even with me and Mouse, even with Grant, you know, through the years, through all our trainings, not just with hurdlers, but even if it's our base training, you know, like, I can actually sit down and actually talk with Mouse about training philosophy. You know, how does he feel about this? What does this exactly do? You know, so now when I'm going through it, I know what the goal is, versus him just saying like, oh, just do this, you know. And the hurdles is a bit different. It's more technical. So like I have to, for me, the way my mind works, I have to be involved. You ain't gonna just be telling me to do stuff and I don't know what we doing. So, you know, I believe, and that's just me. But you know, I believe having a base, having knowledge, being a student of the sport, it helps tremendously, especially when you're dealing with your body. When you're dealing with your body, because a lot of kids, they don't know. They just jump on the table and it's like, oh, my hamstring. Like,
yeah, exactly. But love it or leave it, you are doing your thing. So good luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on and joining us, brother. I'm cheering you on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all giving me the time.
Hey, anytime, man. Until next time.
All right.
What was that, Ashley?
That's some breaking news. Shakari and failed drug test, couldn't miss Olympic.
Who?
Jeez.
Richardson.
Oh no!
Oh my God! Breaking news.
She need to go ahead and
Oh no!
Go ahead and get her.
Wait to see what happens, because that's a Jamaican gleamer said that. So let's just wait. Let's see.
Oh man, that's unfortunate if that's true.
I don't think USA gonna let that fly, because powers may be.
Well, we're going